Shalom Aleichem. Mishnah Yomi is in the last 3 days of Kidushin and Seder Nashim. Bezrat Hashem, this Thursday, August 8th, we'll be starting Nizikin with Bava Kama, a whole new world in our journey through Shas. Right now we're in chapter 4 of Kiddushin, Mishnayot Tet and Yud. Today, let's pick up Mishnah 9. Mi shenatan reshut l'shlucho, lekodesh et bito. The father of a young daughter gave authority, gave agency to another man to go out and marry off his daughter, meaning to accept Kiddushin from a husband for his minor daughter. We talked about the beginning of chapter 2. The Torah gives a father the power to marry off his young daughter for her own benefit or for her own protection. And our sages say, ideally, you should wait till she gets older, she can choose for herself, but sometimes there's crusades going on, sometimes there are hostile populations who abduct unmarried girls, so sometimes for her own protection, we would want to get her married off younger. So what happens back in the Mishnah? V'halahu v'kidsha. Now the father himself, he went out to the local yeshiva and he found someone who was just great. Now he had sent a messenger maybe to a big city, to another town, but he accepts Kiddushin on behalf of his daughter locally. So who's the actual husband? Im shalo kadmu. If the father's acceptance of Kiddushin came first, Kiddush of Kiddushin. His is the real Kiddushin, even if the shliach got someone else later. Im shel shlucho kadmu. If the agent accepted a Kiddushin first, Kiddush of Kiddushin, then his is valid. Im eno yedua. They both know it was on that specific Thursday. Shneim notim get. Both of these prospective possible husbands should give a get, and now she's free to marry someone else. Imratzu, but if they all want, they sit down with the father and the girl and the two possible husbands, echad notin get ve'echad konis. So then one of the two potential husbands could give a get, and now she's free to live happily ever after with the other. Now the Mishnah brings a related case, vechena isha, and so to an adult woman, shenatna reshut l'shlucha, she makes an agent, l'kodsha, to accept Kiddushin on her behalf. He's going to go to Lakewood and find a great guy for her. V'holcha, and then she goes v'kidjat asmo, and she accepts Kiddushin all by herself. So im shala kadmo, if she got married first, kiddusheha Kiddushin, her marriage is 100% valid. She was first. Im shal shlucha kadmo, if his acceptance of Kiddushin came first, kiddushav Kiddushin, then the agent's shidduch is actually the one that is really binding. Im eno yedua, if we don't know who was first, shnehem notnin la get. Both of these potential husbands should give a get. Again, imratzu, if they all work it out, echad noten la get, echad kones. So one gives the get, and she lives happily ever after with the other. The Bartanura here brings from the Gemara why we need both cases. These are quite similar cases, the father of the minor daughter and the adult grown-up woman. Let's go on to Mishnah Yud. Misha yatza hu ve'ishtalunatiyam. A man went overseas with his wife, and they do not yet have any children. And then after a number of years, vahu ve'ishto vonov. Now he comes back home to his hometown with his wife and Mazel Tov. Now there's children. Valmardi says, Isha sheyatzati mi, the same wife that went with me, limidata yam, overseas for extended period. Hare hi zo. This is the same woman. Ve'elu, and these kids, baneha, these are her kids. Ein tzorich lahavi raya, he doesn't have to bring any sort of proof, lo ala isha, not about the wife, lo al habanim, and not about the children. Now the proof we're talking about is of genealogical purity, of good yichus. So we know when they got married locally that this woman was fit to marry a Kohen, and any of her children from this marriage, there were no issues, no aveiras, no problems. So any children from this marriage would be fit to marry Kohanim, and Mr. Cohen could marry all the daughters. So if he's saying this is the same wife, maybe they didn't have photos back then, they didn't recognize her, it's 10 years, 20 years later. So we know she was fit before, so we know that she's still fit. And if we can see that these are her children, then we know her children are fit. Now, this is not, there's not redheaded stepchildren that they adopted when they were overseas. We can tell these are her children, they have a relationship with her, so we know that they're fit to marry into kahuna. Finally, the Mishnah brings a variation. Meta, if the wife had passed away overseas, ve'elu baneha, but the father's saying, these are definitely her children, these are our children from that particular marriage, and she was fit, so maybe raya labanim. If we can bring some sort of proof, some sort of testimony that these are the children of his wife, and we know the wife was kosher, ve'ena mevi raya laisha. We already know she was kosher when they got married locally, so we don't have to bring a proof about her, just that these children were her children. Yeshar kochachem tizku l'mitzvot.